Hello and welcome to J Rock's Babylon News for October 16th, 2025. Wow, this is a big one. Um, this literally happened today. Of course, I'm talking about for all you Kiss Army fans and rock soldiers out there, you know exactly what I'm going to start getting ready to announce. Of course, we're talking about the passing of legendary original Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley today. Um, of course, Ace passed away at the ripe old age of 74. But I tell you, before we really get too much into it, Ace, 74 years old, like I said, I think he still had a few good years left in him. Unfortunately, we're going to get into what happened, but he had a pretty long career. He's one of the few people that was literally kind of rocking and rolling and still pumping out new albums and playing out live. Um, right at the ripe age of 74, he's one of the few people, performers that can actually say that did it till he couldn't do it anymore. Did it to the very end. I mean, you got the rest of the surviving Kiss band members. Of course, I'm talking about the original four Ace, not Ace, but excuse me, Peter Criss, the original drummer. Of course, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, the other two founding members of Kiss. Of course, Gene and Paul have kind of been they've been the two mainstays in Kiss for the last 50 years, but nobody can deny the power of the original four Kiss members. And what I was getting ready to say is, a lot of our rock heroes have been dropping, have been passing on. I mean, we already lost the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, this year. Wow, and that was kind of when Ozzy passed, it was I don't want to say it was a shock because it really wasn't. He'd been suffering and living with Parkinson's disease for the last several years. He had been able to tour. And so that wasn't such a surprise. It was kind of just a matter of when it was going to happen. And the thing with Ozzy is he did that final concert with Black Sabbath and a solo band and all those other bands that played the gig. But we're talking about Ace Frehley today. And I got to tell you, the news of Ace's kind of turn or downfall, if you want to say, in his health, the story kind of broke about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Where he had fallen in his home studio, and then within a matter of days, it was reported that he'd gone to see the doctor reportedly, and then he was told that it's going to take a lot of for him to recover from the fall. But he announced that he was going to cancel remaining 2025 tour dates, and a lot of people and rumblings started to make their way onto the internet, and people were asking why is he canceling the rest of his 2025 tour days? It must be pretty serious. And then some rumors started to circulate that it was more than just a fall, and that Ace had suffered from a stroke. Which of course is interesting because Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil, we in our last news report we talked about, but he suffered a stroke last Christmas Eve 2024. So a lot of stuff started kind of circulating over the last several weeks. And then today when I was at work, I mean, again, people have been talking about Ace since he took this fall in the studio. And nobody, I don't think, really knew that he was hospitalized. That news kind of broke today while I was at work. And then it was kind of interesting because you'd see how the story was developing, and it was developing at a really fast pace today. First, you had some people that had actually reported that Ace had passed, and nothing had really. There was no kind of any official statement from anybody in Ace Frehley's camp, from any of his family members, from any of the Kiss guys. So, to me, that's usually a sign that okay, if this death was real, first of all, it'd be reported on some maybe news outlets. It'd be reported on more than one site. So that's why when stuff like this starts breaking, you don't want to go and put a post up until you know it's for sure. Because if no for no other reason, you don't want to confirm that somebody has died and then find out, you know what? Sorry, they're not dead after all. I mean, again, just an awful thing to do, and people apparently had kind of that reaction that there were a couple people I read online that posted Ace had passed before he actually did, and then they were again attacked by a bunch of people online. Say, hey, it's not official. There's no official statement. What are you putting that out for? You're um, nobody else has reported that Ace has died. Again, people got to understand, as these news story breaks. I mean, especially, I mean, since the official word did come out that Ace died. I mean, just look at the way all the Kiss fans, Ace fans, have reacted to the news. Um, it's been a tragic, sad day for all this Kiss and Ace fans, and and when I was not convinced yet that it was um, that he had died. I'm like, well, we're gonna wait for the rest of the day and see how kind of the story breaks. But like I said, the story was breaking really, really fast. And then once it was kind of determined, okay, no, Ace hasn't passed yet. He's in the hospital. Then everybody started kind of making the point, okay, well, he's not dead, but he's been hospitalized and he's been put on life support. So life support, that's never good. But again, you think, okay, he's on life support, which typically usually means, whatever the cause of death may be, that if you're on life support, it pretty much means that you can't breathe or do too much on your own, that the machines are literally kind of keeping you alive. But as a fan myself, I was holding out on the hope that, okay, he's on life support, so that's not good, but it also means he's not dead yet. So let's try to say a prayer for Ace. Let's try to send some positive vibes his way. Let's try to hold out until until the official word comes out. And so, but that was really breaking for about an hour. About news regarding Ace Frehley, original Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley has been hospitalized and he's on life support. And then about maybe 30 minutes later, after you start seeing all these posts on Facebook and online and stuff, then it turns into okay, he's on life support, but his condition is critical and things don't look good. And then people were yelling at people about posting that Ace had died, and so then you see some people start defending what they had done and said, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's not my intent to put out false news. This is what I heard. So I'm sorry, but hey, I took down what I originally posted, and I'll wait till we get the official word. Again, I don't think any of these people had any bad intent. They just when you read a story like this, especially I can say in my case that Kiss in general, just the whole Kiss band. I've been a fan of the band, since I was a kid myself, like a lot of you guys out there. And so when you go online and you start seeing stories about one of your rock heroes or somebody hero of yours that you grew up with that's seriously ill or in the hospital or death's door, none of us want to read something like that, and it's very upsetting. And so a lot of people, first thing they want to do is post about it. But I learned a long time ago myself. It's very important just to kind of it'd be even better to you go online if you're gonna post something, say there nothing has been confirmed, but there is wide there's been wide speculation, several reports that have said that Ace Frehley that he's at death's door, or that he's that he's in critical condition. But again, even with that, you want to make sure that's the case, because what if somebody is just pulling a prank, and it's an awful thing to say, but I'll give you a great example of this, just so you guys kind of are careful and know what I'm talking about. About 2 years ago, I'm on Facebook one day. It's a Saturday or something like that. and I don't work on Saturday, so I have the weekend off. Get up early in the morning. I'm scrolling on Facebook, and all of a sudden I come across this article that says that Steve Harvey has just died. Comedian Steve Harvey just died. Okay, well, again, what I did not know at the time, I clicked it on because, of course, oh my God, Steve Harvey, he's so young. What could he have died? I didn't even know he was sick. A critical error on my part for no other reason than what I found out, and I've learned since. When you see stories like that is clickbait, and clickbait, of course, is what they'll post something like that, and they'll want you to, maybe it'll take you to their site or something for you to check out something else they've posted. A lot of times it is very nefarious. In case of what happened to me is I did click on the story about Steve Harvey had apparently died. And again, I wasn't thinking about this at the time because, again, I'm thinking, oh, he's so young. What could Steve Harvey have died of? It piqued my interest. And so, not even that as big of a fan of Steve Harvey as I even am Ace Frehley here, but I've seen him, on the Steve Harvey show. I've heard him on the radio. I've seen him host the Family Feud. So I was aware of who Steve Harvey was. So of course it piqued my interest. Now, what I found, and probably many other people like me that clicked on the story, what it did was my computer screen went black. It got a virus, and I had to take the computer to remove the virus, all that, and it cost me a little bit of money. Took it to Best Buy. Wasn't too expensive, but luckily I was able to save it. But I really learned a tough lesson there. Okay, so getting back to the story or the breaking news of today, which was the passing of Ace Frehley. After it's kind of the main story becomes that it is confirmed that he's been hospitalized and that he's on life support after suffering a brain bleed. And again, this story is kind of breaking throughout the day. And then eventually we learned that when he fell in his home studio a couple weeks back, nobody knows, but now it sounds like he's been hospitalized ever since, has been unconscious ever since. So whoever put out the statement about that he decided to cancel the rest of his 2025 tour dates, I'm assuming was somebody that worked with Ace, manager, maybe, somebody, his family members or somebody that's in charge of his affairs. And so it didn't really break that it had gotten that serious, but everything kind of breaking today, it made it sound like that since the fall, that he's been unconscious, like I said, that he's been in the hospital. And then after we started hearing that, okay, he's on life support, and he suffered from a brain bleed, and things just do not look good. About an hour or two later, after everybody starts getting the story, which is again that okay, he's on life support. Then you start, and then you see everybody like from Ricky Rocket, the drummer of Poison, who I'm sure, I don't know that he knew Ace Frehley real good, but I'm sure he's had some encounters with him. Definitely Ricky, along with Bret Michaels and other guys in Poison, no doubt were influenced by Kiss. So you see Ricky Rocket posting about it, and he's saying, hey, does anybody know what's really going on with Ace Frehley? I hear he's passed. Some people are saying he's passed. Some people are saying he hasn't. What's going on with Ace? And then again, about maybe 2 hours later, then it's kind of confirmed. Okay, breaking news. Original Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley dead at 74. And then that's all that's on Facebook like the rest of the afternoon. One post after everybody starts posting of how they were such a huge Ace fan. You see everybody from Eddie Trunk, who was a longtime friend of Ace Frehley. In fact, in Eddie's post today, he mentions the fact that him and Ace were really close friends for the last 40 years. And anybody that doesn't know, Eddie Trunk, we know from his TV shows such as The Metal Show and his radio show that he's had on for years. Eddie Trunk, back around 1984, 85, I think is he was a guy at Megaforce Records. Eddie at the time was an A&R guy at the record label that had just signed Ace to a solo deal, his first solo deal after leaving Kiss. And that was a deal where he released the Frehley's Comet album, the first thing he'd done in years, in 1987. Eddie was the guy that signed him to Megaforce. So Eddie posted some pictures and that he knew that Ace was kind of dealing with this the last several weeks. He's been very upset, but he couldn't say too much until the family put out an official statement. And so when you see Eddie Trunk is posting stuff about this, okay, he's one reliable source because he's somebody that was tight with Ace. He's known him for the last 40 years. So you think, okay, there's some legitimacy to this. I seen Bret Michaels, again, Poison frontman, successful solo artist in his own right, post something nice about Ace and saying how Ace was such a huge influence on him. I seen the guys in Rush, Alex, Lyson, and Geddy Lee. Rush put out a kind of a statement about how Rush on the very first Kiss tour back in 1974, they were one of the opening bands, and Geddy was talking about the fact that they were always hanging out with Ace in his hotel room, or backstage, because Ace was one of the guys in Kiss that was really a lot of fun to hang with. So everybody's talking about what a huge influence Ace had. And today I thought there's going to be plenty of other chances to talk about Ace Frehley and his career and his music, and I plan to do some more. But I thought today was kind of it was appropriate to kind of talk about the breaking news of Ace's passing and how it broke. And again, I myself I'm not surprised, only because ever since the fall, there have been all these rumblings online about Ace is, something's happened. Rumors are he had a stroke. Maybe he did. Some people say he didn't have a stroke. Well, I think he must have. I mean, at least the brain bleed. That's basically a brain hemorrhage, and so it sounds like he had the serious fall. And he never woke up, never recovered. Really hate to see Ace Frehley go, but Ace. Wow, I don't know. Something. It's sad to see Ace go, but it's funny the way things happen, because let's really talk about it, you guys. I mean, 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of Kiss. They have the big event in November coming in Las Vegas. Gene and Paul are going to be there. Bruce Kulick's going to be there. Even Bruce put out a statement saying how he was affected by Ace's death, and you're not surprised to hear about it. Many people think, oh well, why would Bruce Kulick, care? He didn't know Ace. I mean, he did not know Ace maybe as good as let's say Gene and Paul or even Peter Criss, but I do know through stuff that interviews and stuff that Bruce has done over the years. Him and Ace have met on quite a few occasions. They did a Creatures Fest event, about a year or so ago. I know that Bruce appeared on one of Ace's Origins albums, doing a Jimi Hendrix cover. So they'd worked together. They'd known each other. So, and Bruce is just a super nice guy too, because Bruce Kulick he's a guy who has no airs, no ego, and him and Ace were friends. In fact, I remember in some interviews where Ace actually went on about having met Bruce and what a nice guy he thought he was. So, and let's not forget that when Ace was struggling with his alcoholism, during the Kiss days, like for example, on Destroyer, it's actually Alice Cooper guitarist Dick Wagner that came in and he recorded the solo on the song Sweet Pain because Ace didn't show up to record a solo. Bob Ezrin said, okay, well, Ace is too busy. He's playing cards or whatever. That was the excuse. He said, we'll just have Dick Wagner come in and do it. Now, again, folks, I want to just kind of talk about the story of Ace's passing and how it broke today. And it's interesting because everybody's coming out. Charlie Benanti, Frank Bello, two of the guys from Anthrax, they put out separate statements. PJ Farley from Trickster, he posted a photo of him and Ace, saying how he was sorry to hear about Ace's passing. So everybody's coming out to pay tribute to Ace, which I think is great. He would have loved it, and it's interesting because Ace Frehley again. I mean, it should be noted that he was in Kiss, and then he didn't. He left Kiss in 1982. He didn't put out his first post Kiss album until 1987, which of course was a Frehley's Comet album. That was a great album in its own right, and I'm sure I'm going to be doing an episode talking about that album, some many other Ace Frehley solo albums, because there's just so much great Ace music to talk about. It deserves to be talked about, and I imagine it will. And Ace, for many years he dealt with his sobriety, but you know what? He conquered it finally. So there's that to be said. And then I remember, for years, not knowing what the Kiss guys looked like without the makeup, and of course, we got to see a glimpse of, well, not a glimpse, we got to see what Gene and Paul looked like, and even Eric Carr in 1983 with the release of Lick It Up, when they took off their makeup, but we didn't get to see what Ace Frehley looked like, I remember, until 1987 when the Frehley's Comet album came out. And I remember when the Rock Soldiers video premiered on MTV, I think it was Headbangers Ball, and Ace looked nothing like I thought he did. He looked totally different. He looked like Ace or whatever. But man, I'm just so sad by Ace's passing. It's been on my mind, and I got home a little late, but I just had to kind of do this to talk. Tip my hat to the late great spaceman Ace Frehley. And I'll never forget when that Frehley's Comet album came out. It was the first thing that we heard from Ace since he left Kiss. That was like 5 years. To get any new Ace Frehley music from 1982 to 1987, though, very first thing we saw was that music video for Rock Soldiers. And I'll never forget hearing that song, Rock Soldiers, hearing that he wrote it about the infamous car accident he got on the highway in New York in his DeLorean, total the DeLorean. And he wrote a song about it. If you listen to the lyrics of Rock Soldiers, go on YouTube and check out the video. The song, if you listen to the lyrics, are autobiographical. And again, that was the start of Ace Frehley's post Kiss solo career. So yes, folks, Ace Frehley, original Kiss guitarist, dead at 74. But we got so many great memories to talk about, and keep tuning in here because I was such a Kiss fan, and this is kind of just again getting the word out about the passing of Ace and how the news of his death broke today. All throughout the day, is interesting to see, and people are still online talking about. Go on YouTube, type in Ace Frehley. You're gonna have a ton of great music come up. Man, I got so much more to say about Ace Frehley, but it's really kind of touching me right here. So I'll tell you what, guys, tune in and we'll have some more stuff about Ace Frehley in the days ahead. Take care, and again, I'm your host, Jason J. Rock Houston. You all know what a huge Kiss fan I am. That's why I felt the need to do this. And man, what a way to end the night. But all you Rock Soldiers and Kiss Army fans, put on Rock Soldiers, Shock Me, and then check out another great Frehley's Comet tune, Into the Night. That was another one of those songs should have been much bigger. They played the video on MTV, but I tell you, man, Ace just kept making music until couldn't make it anymore. Now there's rumors that he was working on Origins 3. I heard a lot of that had been recorded, and I know he's putting the finish touches on it. This is probably going to put a hold on that, but who knows? I hope that whatever is in the vaults, that some of that may eventually come out. So hey, folks, take care. and I'll see you again real soon. Leave your thoughts and your comments and these stories you have about Ace Frehley, in the comment section here. I'd love to hear those. Take care. Bye for now.